For anyone who has driven across the vast, sun-scorched expanse of Interstate 10 in Arizona, the experience can be hypnotic. The endless asphalt shimmers under the desert heat, the landscape a monotonous blur of sand and cactus. But then, something breaks the spell. A bright yellow billboard appears on the horizon, then another, and another. For mile after agonizing mile they line the highway, hundreds of them, each one a fragment of a single, haunting question. Mystery of the desert. What is the thing? For over half a century, this relentless, almost aggressive marketing campaign has been one of America's most bizarre and successful roadside legends. It's a masterclass in curiosity, a campaign that practically willed drivers to pull over, pay the fee, and finally discover the answer to the question that had been seared into their minds for the last 100 miles. This is the strange and evolving story of The Thing. Our story begins not in the halls of a prestigious museum, but in the desolate quiet of the Arizona desert in the 1960s. The mastermind behind this enduring mystery was a man named Homer Prince. Prince was not an archaeologist nor a historian. He was a shrewd collector, a man with a keen eye for the odd, the macabre, and the unexplainable. He gathered what he called oddities, a vast and peculiar assortment of curiosities that defied easy categorization. He purchased the collection in the mid-50s, and in 1965 he found the perfect home for it, a dusty patch of land right off a major highway where the flow of travelers was constant and their boredom was palpable. The original attraction wasn't much to look at. A few simple, humble buildings stood starkly against the harsh desert backdrop, looking more like a forgotten outpost than a tourist destination. But it was here that Homer Prince's true genius was revealed. He understood something fundamental about the human psyche, the power of an unanswered question. He didn't need to advertise the specifics of his collection. He didn't need to list his prize exhibits. All he needed was a hook. And so, the billboards began to multiply. With each bright yellow sign, he wasn't just advertising an attraction. He was manufacturing a legend out of thin air, building a monument to pure, unadulterated curiosity. He wasn't selling an object. He was selling the idea of an object, a mystery so profound that you simply had to solve it for yourself. For the curious traveler who finally succumbed to the billboard's siren call, the experience was a journey into deliberate strangeness. Stepping inside the old attraction was like entering a dimly lit, dusty time capsule. The air was thick with the smell of aged wood and neglect, an atmosphere intentionally crafted to feel unsettling and creepy. You would walk through a series of long, low-ceilinged sheds, following a trail of faded yellow footprints painted on the concrete floor. Each shed was a repository of the bizarre. The collection was a hodgepodge of history, folklore, and outright fabrication. Here you would find grotesque examples of taxidermy, animals with deformities that seemed to defy nature. In another corner, a collection of what were rumored to be ancient torture devices sat ominously, their supposed purpose left to the visitor's grim imagination. The veracity of these claims was secondary to their effect. Each object was a small mystery in itself, building a crescendo of weirdness that prepared you for the main event. Finally, after winding through the labyrinth of oddities, you would arrive. There, nestled in a weathered coffin and preserved under glass, was it, the thing. A small, desiccated figure, seemingly mummified with distorted features and an unnervingly human-like form. Was it real? The signage offered no definitive answers, only more questions and vague, tantalizing suggestions. Theories swirled around the mysterious figure. Many believed it was a classic gaffe, a prop expertly crafted for the sideshow circuit, perhaps a cleverly manipulated combination of animal and human remains. Others whispered that it was a genuine but tragically unidentified body from a forgotten era. And of course, many concluded it was a complete and utter hoax, a masterful piece of P.T. Barnum-style showmanship. The visitor's reaction was the final piece of the puzzle. Walking away from that coffin, were people angry? Did they feel ripped off, having paid their dollar to see a bizarre puppet? For most, the answer was no. They were confused, perhaps. Amused, almost certainly. They had paid for a mystery, and a mystery is what they got. The ambiguity was the point. They left not with a clear answer, but with a story to tell. A story about the time they drove through the desert and paid to see the thing. The legend lived on, passed from one carload of travelers to the next. For decades, this was the status quo. The billboards faded, the dust settled deeper, but the thing remained a steadfast icon of the American road trip. Then, in 2018, the unthinkable happened. The entire original site, the dusty sheds, the creepy footprints, the decades of accumulated grime, was unceremoniously demolished. A new owner, Bolin Travel Centers, had purchased the property and decided it was time for a radical change. They saw the power in the brand that Homer Prince had built, but envisioned a future for it that was far removed from its humble, creepy origins. Millions of dollars were invested. The old, ramshackle outpost was leveled, and in its place a new structure began to rise. What emerged from the dust was a startling transformation. The old, eerie sheds were gone, replaced by a single, modern, multi-million-dollar museum. It was sleek, clean, and professional. Everything the original attraction was not. Visitors who had known the old thing were stunned. The familiar, unsettling atmosphere was gone, replaced by bright lights, colorful displays, and a sense of polished corporate entertainment. The change was so drastic that it posed a new question. If the entire experience was different, what had happened to the thing itself? Stepping into the new museum reveals an answer more outlandish than anyone could have imagined. The new owners didn't just update the exhibits, they invented an entirely new mythology. The vague, dusty mystery of the past was replaced with a loud, elaborate, and wildly imaginative science fiction narrative. Visitors are now told a secret history of the world, a saga that begins with the dinosaurs. According to this new storyline, a group of aliens crash-landed on Earth millions of years ago. A cosmic war ensued. Dinosaurs, it turns out, were not just passive beasts. They were locked in an epic struggle for planetary dominance against these extraterrestrial invaders. The museum is a monument to this new fiction. Giant, life-sized dinosaur statues are posed in dramatic battle scenes against menacing, silver-skinned aliens. High-tech displays and futuristic lighting create an immersive, almost theme park-like atmosphere. The experience is a sensory overload of roaring dinosaurs, whirring spaceships, and glowing alien artifacts. And what of the original thing, the humble mummy in the coffin? It's still here, but its context has been completely rewritten. It is no longer just a mysterious oddity. It is now presented as a key player in this cosmic drama, the remains of one of the ancient alien combatants, a relic from a secret war that shaped the history of our planet. The massive shift is jarring. The quiet, unsettling power of a simple, unexplained object has been traded for a bombastic, sci-fi blockbuster experience. So, which was better, the old thing or the new? For purists, the original holds an irreplaceable charm. Its power lay in its ambiguity, in the creepy, lo-fi presentation that forced your own imagination to fill in the gaps. It was a genuine piece of Americana, a relic from a time when the journey was as important as the destination, and a good story was worth $1. The new version is an entirely different beast. It is a polished, professional, and undeniably entertaining experience, but it lacks the soul of the original. It provides all the answers, leaving no room for speculation. The mystery has been solved, replaced by a detailed, albeit fictional, script. Ultimately, the debate is a matter of taste, but whether you prefer the creepy, mysterious original or the polished, modern story, one fact remains undeniable. For over half a century, in two vastly different forms, the thing has survived, It stands as a true monument to American road trip culture, a testament to the enduring power of a brilliant marketing idea and our insatiable, uniquely human curiosity. It is, and always has been, a landmark born from a simple, nagging question. Have you ever visited the Thing? Which version do you prefer? And what mystery landmark should we investigate next? Let us know in the comments.